What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about my new custom PC build. Here it is, all set up. It took me about 4 days in total to make, but I think if I sat down and did it all in one sitting, it wouldn't take longer than 5 hours. So far, honestly, it's really exceeded all of my expectations. I'm really happy with it. Figured I would make a video sharing some of my process. This is my first ever PC. So if anyone else is looking to start out, maybe I could give some insight. Let's get right to it. Now, first, I do just want to talk about some of the parts I used. All of the parts that went into the physical computer, including the operating system, I have listed on PC Part Picker. I'm going to be listing that in the description below. But I used the Asus Prime Z690P motherboard, a Intel Core i7-12700KF 12-core processor, a Vetru version 5 CPU cooler, two Corsair Vengeance 32GB memory sticks, a Sabrent Rocket 1TB PCIe NVMe solid state drive, the 3070 Ti Gigabyte gaming video card, a 750-watt 80 plus gold certified fully modular ATX power supply from Gigabyte, Microsoft Windows 11, and all of it's wrapped up real nice into the KEDIERS 7 fan mid tower gaming case. The KEDIERS gaming case actually isn't on PC Part Picker, but I found it on Newegg. They also have a website, and you could buy it from Amazon. But this is what the case looks like. It's very nice. It's fully metal. Here, it has a handle right here if you ever need to carry the case. It's very solid. Here, it's the power button. It has three USB slots, two slots for headphone jacks. This button down here is for the fans. The whole thing is open concept. This is 3mm wide, tinted glass. It's very nice. The back here, it's very open. It cools very efficiently. The fans are quiet. I like it a lot. I think it's very aesthetically pleasing, which is, what I was going for. I wanted a computer that wasn't just, a rectangle, and I feel like they really delivered. This case is really cool. I'm also running a program to match all of the fans together, all of the lights. I'm using Signal RGB. I highly recommend it. It's really easy to use. I'm just running the free version. So this effect is the pastel effect. It's really nice. I feel like it's the cherry on top. Alright, so I forgot to record the transition between this part of the video and the part where I walk you through using Signal RGB for the first time. So this is the transition now. In the meanwhile, feel free to check out my Ko-fi. I post art, and that's pretty much it actually. This is my first ever computer content, if you will. Alright, let's get back to work. Quick Signal RGB overview. When you first boot up Signal RGB, it's not going to look like this. You're going to be brought to the setup guide. The setup guide is going to flash the lights in your build. The only one that it recognized for me was the CPU cooler. It didn't recognize any of the lights on the case itself, don't fret. Set up the CPU cooler and then say OK. It should automatically connect the graphics card and the RAM sticks. It won't even show them as an option. It'll just automatically know what those are. Just set up your cooler. Now, for me, it didn't know what type of cooler it was because the Vetroo coolers was not an option on the website. I would just pick any CPU cooler. If you have any idea how many LEDs are in your cooler, perfect. Try to pick one with a similar amount of LEDs. That'll make the lights show as accurately as possible. If you have no idea, just pick one. Maybe one that looks similar. It isn't really the end of the world. It's just so that it connects. Now, when you first do that, the only things that are going to connect are your cooler, your RAM sticks, and your graphics card. So the lights on the case are, and the fans aren't going to be connected. So now, of course, you're asking yourself, well, then, how do I connect them? Well, easy, don't worry. You go to devices. Okay, you're going to be brought here. So it's going to show you your lighting settings. Don't worry about them. See what I was talking about, how it automatically connects these. Then you're going to go to your motherboard. So here's my motherboard. And you're going to go down to component configurations. So as you can see, I chose the Arctic Freezer as my cooler. That's why it's in this first channel. In these channels, they're going to be empty. Now, only one channel is connected to your fans, but just put the same generic fan with LEDs in both, and you'll see them light up. So if they don't immediately light up, then you're just going to have to long press this button to put them into custom light mode, or it also has a remote. So as you can see, there's a DIY. So you just hold the DIY button and it'll go into custom light mode. Go ahead and do that, and then if you have an effect going, it'll just automatically go into it. If not, then the lights will just turn off. Now, in the free version, let's go to home, you can download any of the free effects. There's pro effects that you can get if you get the subscription. I just have the free version. I've gone through and picked some already. Let's see, this one's pretty cool, the custom sunrise. I made it, the trans flag. So, see, that's what it looks like when it's coming out. Now, as you can see, my lights aren't really changing color, though. So you might be like, oh, what's going on? Well, you might have to go into layouts. So let's go to layouts. And see, all of my devices are here when they should be a little bit more spaced out, so that when the colors are showing up, they're being affected by the colors. So luckily I've already made a bunch of presets, but you could, let's pretend that I haven't made one, right? So you can just kind of move them around. It goes in a circle, so you can put everything in a circle if you want. If you want all the colors to be a little different, you can do this. Or if you want that ring effect, you can put these in the middle here so that they kind of show up in a ring. As you can see now, they're changing color. Look at my graphics cards are changing color too. Oh, it's kind of hard to capture, but it looks really nice in person. It's a really nice program to play around with. Not all of the effects you can change the colors. Some of them are just rainbow by default, but all of them look really cool. So just mess around with it. Find one that you like, maybe a few that you like to play with. You know, here, like the Embers one is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty simple program. I was getting frustrated trying to connect the fans on the case, so hopefully that helps you. Make sure to just check your devices before doing anything else. If that doesn't work, there are troubleshooting tips on their website, and they do have a Discord as well. But hopefully, if you're doing the exact same build as me, then that should work. So yeah. By the way, sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I do have a bit of a cold right now. But anyway, as you can see, the computer is already built, so unfortunately, I don't have a video showing my exact process. But I did just want to talk about some of the things that I struggled with and some of the things that I thought would be hard, but actually were really straightforward. The first thing that I did was I opened up the motherboard right out the box. I attached the CPU cooler and the CPU. Uh, I actually had to take the motherboard back out of the case after attaching it because I didn't realize that the CPU cooler has a back plate that attaches to the back of the motherboard. So that seems to be a pretty common practice. So just keep that in mind if you're like me and you're gonna start with the motherboard. But the CPU itself goes in very easily. Then the cooler goes right on top. I put the RAM sticks in next. Uh, you should put the RAM sticks the one farthest from the CPU and then the second closest if you're only using two like me. Obviously, if you're using four, just fill up all four slots, baby. You got it. um, After that, I attached the graphics card. When I attached the graphics card, I actually was a little worried about the weight. I didn't expect it to be so big, and I definitely didn't expect it to be so heavy. So it made me nervous to put it onto the motherboard, just kind of like clicking it in. But it does screw onto the sides of the case. Let me see if I can show you. So as you can see, these two screws right here, they kind of hold the graphics card to the case itself, and it's very sturdy, despite being heavy. It's very well attached, so I think I was just letting my anxiety get the best of me. But then I put the SSD card. Uh, the motherboard didn't have something to screw the SSD card flat, but it's fine. I did the PSU last. Uh, it goes right into the bottom of the case. There's a lot of room. It is suspended a little bit into the air, which I really appreciate. And all of the wires go right into the motherboard and the graphics card. It's very straightforward. Um, Honestly, I didn't have any problems hooking it up. The instructions that it comes with are very clear, but if that's something that you are having a problem with, they do have instructions with pictures on their website. Um, so I think, that was probably one of the easiest steps, but yeah, once everything was in, I had to attach the cables from the case itself to the motherboard. I think I should have done that once I attached the motherboard, but I waited until everything else was done. That was a little confusing because I couldn't find where they go in the case, the instructions that came with the case, but I was able to find it in the instructions for the motherboard itself. The wires ended up going on along the bottom, and they were actually labeled, but it was hard to see because I had already put the graphics card in, and as I mentioned earlier, the graphics card is quite large. So that I would definitely recommend doing that once you put the motherboard in before attaching anything else. It's probably just easier that way. Um, but yeah, once everything was in, I was able to turn it on. It went right into the BIOS. Everything looked great. So I started downloading Windows 11. I got Windows 11 as a USB. So I plugged it right into the computer. It downloaded, no problems. It started up. Um, my CPU cooler doesn't plug into the CPU fan slot on the motherboard. It can, but it recommends plugging into another slot alternatively. So I kept getting an error that there was no CPU fan when I would boot into BIOS. You can just set it to ignore. That's what I did because I know that there's a CPU fan, and I could check how the CPU fan is doing. So that wasn't something that concerned me. I guess if it really bothers you, you could plug it into the CPU fan slot. I don't think it really makes much of a difference, but I just decided to follow the manufacturer's instructions this time around. Anyway, once everything was set up, the biggest problem that I ran into was that the motherboard came with all of its drivers. Here, let me grab it. On a disc, a CD, and this doesn't have a CD slot, so that was a bit of an issue for me. The all of the drivers and the chipsets are available on the Asus website, but it is a little confusing, and for a few days I didn't have all of the drivers. So here, let me guide, right? Now, you go onto the Asus website, just give me a minute. Alright, so you're thinking to yourself, let me look up my motherboard and then the word drivers so I could get those drivers, you know, let's get this ball rolling. You click the link, it's going to bring you here, you're going to go to driver and utility, which I was already at, go to driver and tools, select your OS, I have Windows 11, and then you're going to see all of this. Now, here's the confusing part, is that you're going to have to press expand all. Some of these are older versions, so you don't download the older versions because that would be silly. Of course, you're going to get the most recent version. But some of these are just multiple things that you need, like under the chipset. So you're going to need to download this, 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 this. So you have to download all 4 of these, and then these are older versions. But here, you just download this top one. If you have the Wi-Fi motherboard, you would download the top one. Here, let's go down a little bit. For the audio, you download this top one. Here, you download just the top one. For the Bluetooth, just this one. For software and utility, it's just this top one. For the firmware, only one option. Here, you just download the top one. Ignore this, it's completely useless. Then, go back up, go to BIOS and firmware. Give it a minute. You're going to download, my bad. You're going to download this version of BIOS, just that top one. You're gonna download this firmware. You're gonna download this top version of Intel ME. So it seems like a lot. It kind of is. You're gonna download all of those. They're all really important. Once they download, they're gonna download as zip files. You just go into your files. I've already downloaded all of these, but you're gonna extract them into folders, and then you're just going to go into them and run the applications that are inside. They'll take you through the setup process. You're probably going to be resetting your PC a lot. A lot of them need you to reset your PC for them to kick in. But once you think that you've downloaded everything, what you could do is you can right click and go to Device Manager here. So if there's any drivers missing, it'll show underneath wherever it's missing with a yellow exclamation mark. Now, if you have a driver missing, what you can do is you can hover over whichever one, you can right click and go to properties. So in properties, then you could go to details and go to hardware IDs, and the top one will be the ID of the device that's missing the drivers. You can then copy that. Gonna get out of this. Put it into your search bar, and likely you'll be able to find someone who's been missing the same drivers, and then someone will link where you could find the drivers. All drivers are available online, usually on the Intel or Asus website if you're using Intel and Asus like I am. So very straightforward. I did have to download the drivers for my graphics card as well. I got it secondhand and the drivers were outdated, but that was also really easy. I just went to the GeForce website, looked for my graphics card and downloaded the drivers. If you're using any Bluetooth devices, like I'm using a Bluetooth mouse, then you can optionally download some drivers. I mean, just do it. Just download everything. It's easy, and it's easy enough. This is the boring part of setting up the computer. Just get everything, download it. If you're like me, set up your ad block plus, baby. It's beautiful. Set up your VPN. I'm using excuse my background. I'm using where is it? Proton VPN. I like it a lot. Right now I'm connected to the Netherlands, I believe. Yep. I have the free version. I mean, it's easy, it's fast. That's pretty much it. I mean, once everything's downloaded. Oh, I got speakers. Yes, I got these Insignia dual speakers. Here's one. I'm like just gripping this boy. Put him back. And there's the other. They were $20 from Best Buy. Totally worth it. Let me see. My monitor doesn't have a camera. Nice try, government. So if your monitor is like mine, this is a Dell gaming monitor. Then you're gonna have to get a separate camera if you want one. You're gonna need a microphone if you want one. Best Buy has microphones for $25. Honestly, I'm probably gonna get one. But I mean, like I said, I'm really happy with the way everything turned out. If you like the way it looks, check out my PC part picker post. feel free to buy the parts that I got. I got my graphics card for a total steal. If you don't know anything about graphics cards, which I didn't, okay, so I get it. Um, they're expensive. Me, I definitely had kind of a budget that I ended up breaking, so I things were getting tight around the edges. But I really wanted this computer to happen, and it's definitely worth, you know, kind of like buying up, if you will. It's a computer that's gonna last for a long time. That's kind of the best part for me. You know, I everything works really great on it. Some of my favorite games, Portal 2 and Minecraft, I know Minecraft is kind of a silly pick, but like mods of those games looks just stunning on the computer, which is awesome. Of course, you want everything to look good, so if you're gonna try and build it, I'd love to know if you're gonna try and build it and you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Honestly, comment. I'll answer. Um, Message me. My Instagram is just a simple fried egg. I'll get back to you. Sorry that I couldn't record the process. I kind of had the parts all over my room. And like I said, it took me like 4 days because I kept building it late at night and then having to go to sleep. So I just couldn't get a process video. But thank you for watching. And, you know, I wish you luck in your computer endeavors. Peace.